Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this nine episode of our Sentinel podcast series. Today we have with us our colleagues from AEGIS. We have with us today Marinos and Stavros. So they are our colleagues and partners from Sentinel project. And as usual, the idea is to have, I would say, a short time here, a short conversation, and also get Marinos and Stavros' opinion in basically technological base and also, I would say, Sentinel based outputs regards to SMEs, cybersecurity, data protection, and data privacy. Okay, so welcome. Thank you very much for your availability and also accept this challenge here to be with us. We will basically pass the word to you, and I will ask if you can give us a short, let's say, overview about yourselves and also about AEGIS. Thank you.
Okay, so hello from my side too. I am Marinos Tsantekidis. I am a project manager at AEGIS IT Research, and together with me is also Stavros Tsipras. Stavros is the lawyer in the company who specializes in GDPR. One or two sentences about AEGIS. AEGIS is a German SME and mostly focuses on research on various ICT domains in cybersecurity in healthcare, in edge computing, in cloud computing, smart cities, smart infrastructure, etc. And we are, of course, proud to participate in the Sentinel project. The consortium is wide range, and everyone is an expert in their fields. And our role in Sentinel focuses mostly in three main areas, and it's mostly technical, our role. So, first of all, we are leading the efforts to develop the front end of the platform, essentially the web page, the UI. Of course, we are not alone in this effort. We are coordinating with a number of technical partners that are developing a number of interconnected tools, of the tools that consist the Sentinel platform. So the result of all the processing that is happening in the background and the platform is basically integrated and visualized in the front end, and this is what we are responsible for the integration in the front end. The second area that we are responsible for is the relevant task concerning the information exchange part of the platform. Essentially, it's the MISP platform, which is a threat sharing system. So we have the capacity to get information by a vast number of sources worldwide concerning security threats or incidents or vulnerabilities. And of course, we are able to contribute back to the community and share such information that we come up ourselves as a platform, as a project. And the third area that we're responsible for is the market analysis and business planning towards the potential commercial exploitation of the Sentinel platform. I don't know if Stavros wants to say a few words, but that's an introductory, let's say, speech or a few words for about AEGIS. Thank you, Ruben.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marinos. Stavros.
Okay, hello, Ruben. I'm Stavros Tsipras. I'm a lawyer. I'm recently appointed at AEGIS IT Research to deal with GDPR issues, since I'm an appointed DPO from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. I haven't been involved in the Sentinel project, so all things that Marino said is new to me. But that sounds exciting about the future and the help we can provide to the SMEs and the MEs about how they can be compliant with the GDPR. That's all from the introductions. I don't think there's much to be said.
Okay.
more than
Think.
thorough.
Okay, thank you very much. I think was quite comprehensive about the role of AEGIS in Sentinel, and also basically the background of both of you. So I guess that we can start now with the questions. So we have three questions for our podcast, and probably Stavros, if you don't mind, I will start with you.
Yes, of course.
So you mentioned that you are a lawyer, you are also a DPO. So I can imagine that you have been in contact with several SMEs, probably also European SMEs. And my first question is, from your, let's say, your close contact with such companies, how do you see them? How do you see the current landscape of the European SMEs with regards to these issues, with regards to data privacy, with regards to security, with regards to GDPR compliance? I mean, are they aware of these, let's say, these challenges? Are they aware that they exist, threat exists? Are there, I would say, preparing themselves in order to mitigate some of the challenges? How do you basically see this?
Well, there is a big difference on how SMEs and MEs deal with the GDPR, and how the big companies deal with the GDPR. Big companies are more aware of the problem and the issues involved, and they look to be more involved in appointing DPOs and spending money and doing all the things they have to do so that they can be compliant. This picture is not the same with the SMEs and the MEs. There is a huge gap. They are in general aware that there is GDPR and we should protect some data. They're not very aware, very familiar with the issues that the GDPR arises, and so the picture is not very encouraging, I would say, especially in Greece. I don't know more. The same should be said about the Europe as well. They're not very aware of what's happening, what they have to protect. Something. I don't. I don't handle personal data, which is a huge mistake. We all handle personal data in our businesses. Personal data, and we should protect it, even if the subject of the data doesn't know you handle his data, and you should protect it. So there's a big issue here. There are a lot of things that are a lot of barriers holding them from doing stuff. There is a misunderstanding. If someone reads the GDPR, that you don't have to be compliant if you don't have to apply a DPO. It's a huge misunderstanding. Even though you don't have to appoint a DPO, you must be compliant with the GDPR. You must protect sensitive personal data, all personal data, not only sensitive personal data. So there is an issue here. Another issue is that most SMEs and MEs are understaffed. They operate only with the basic stuff, and they lack the expertise in legal and technological aspects to deal with the GDPR problems. Even they lack the budget to do so. They how do you say it? They choose not to be involved with being compliant with the GDPR in order to survive. I don't know, in order to be more flourishing economically. This is a mistake because the subject of the data are more aware today, especially after the pandemic, about how their data are being handled, by whom, and so it's a good business if you are compliant with GDPR and you protect the personal data as you should. There are other barriers as well. There's the regulatory framework of the GDPR is pretty complex. It consists of detailed requirements and obligations that can be overwhelming for SMEs and MEs, especially if they don't have legal expertise. Uh, they can't understand terms like encryption or secure data storage or data controller or data processor, data handler. Uh, so they choose not to be involved because I don't know what this law is saying. Something like that. Also, in Greece, but I think in Europe as well, there is a very limited data protection culture. We don't understand why we should protect personal data. Most of us, especially sole traders, there is a big part in every economy. Sole traders usually they don't care about personal data. They don't even know they handle personal data. So there must be I don't know how can you solve this. It takes a lot of uh, how can I
Creating
say it?
awareness, creating awareness.
Yeah, you have to create awareness about the issue. You have to educate employees about the protection culture, the data protection culture. Uh, I think these are the main barriers. We can also talk about technology evolving. Okay, but this happens in every aspect of our life. So if someone wants to be involved with the technology, keeps tracks of these changes. Uh, so pretty much, I think this is the landscape today.
I mean, it's I would say curious because this is pretty much resembles and it's perfectly aligned with some context that, for instance, when we start, let's say, approaching some SMEs in Portugal. By the way, we are from Portugal, and I would say that the landscape is pretty much as you describe it. So there are, I would say, very few SMEs and probably more medium companies than small companies, but a very few percentage that are already paving the way because they have the resources, even financial resources, to start paving the way. But I guess that the majority of the SMEs, it's due to the lack of awareness. It's not they don't care. Well, they do care, but the thing is that they don't know how to start. They don't know how to
Exactly,
implement. They don't know who they should contact. It's basically, I would
exactly. Yes,
say, awareness and also education thing. This is what we basically found in some of the SMEs that we start contacted here, and I'm pretty much it's aligned with what you have just mentioned.
exactly. Yes, they should be aware actually because the fines are quite huge. They can demolish you.
Exactly, exactly.
The fines that
Yeah, I think this is it will take time. We had asked actually we had also one DPO in one of our podcast series, and basically what he had told us was he tried to correlate this with the environment fines. So something like 10 years ago or more, companies didn't care about environment and being, I would say, environment aware. And now they are because the fines are very huge. So if they are not compliant with some environment friendly procedures, they could get fined. And he more or less tried to relate this culture related to the let's say the environment impact that we had something like 10 or 20 years ago. But
exactly. Yes.
this is something that will take time.
It will take time, and but times are changing, and I would say that it's not so much for the fines are huge. As that they seem to be you charge companies with fines. We read on the news that every day some big company is being charged with a huge amount of euros for not protecting the personal data of its customers correctly. Imagine if this would happen to an SME.
Exactly. Yeah. It will put the SMEs in a bad position, in a bad situation.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yes.
Okay, Stavros, thank you very much for your testimony here. I think we'll now, I will pass the word to Marinos. There was something that you also mentioned here about, for instance, technological barriers and challenges that are also being, I would say, hardly addressed by the SMEs. There is also the notion of education and also to educate the employers. For instance, one of the things that the pandemic has brought to us is now that people are not working in the offices, so people are working remotely. And of course, from data privacy and data security, this has imposed some challenges that we didn't have previous to the pandemic. So now companies are more, I would say, distributed and not really centralized. I mean, the employees are working remotely. So this is also imposing some challenges. So my next question that goes to Marinos is, and now focusing here more on the research part and also Sentinel as a project. How do you see, what is your perspective with regards to Sentinel? I mean, what is Sentinel? It's actually promoting and its objectives, its vision. And how do you see that SMEs can also take Sentinel outputs and also actually absorb Sentinel value added? What could be the benefit for SMEs with regards to Sentinel?
Okay, thank you for the question, Ruben. First of all, let me just say that you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, what you said in the last few sentences was a perfect, let's say, pass-through from what Stavros said before, meaning that Sentinel fits exactly in the gap that is created in the GDPR, let's say, ecosystem in general. Because not only Sentinel offers technological measures, but it also offers awareness. It raises the awareness of an SME and how it can handle with such issues. But let me start at the beginning. In order to help an SME, there has to be some initial interest from the SME side. In order to try and deal with the issues that of GDPR and personal data protection compliance. Sentinel's goal is not generic in the sense that it does not try to raise awareness for these issues in general. I mean, it primarily aims to offer a simple toolkit that an SME can use to do, let's say, to do a number of things. First, to model its business, to gain awareness with regards to these issues, specific awareness, to perform a number of assessments based on its infrastructure and inner procedures, and of course get recommendations on how to correct any issues or problems that may arise from these assessments. The general, let's say, value proposition of the project is to bridge the gap among cybersecurity, privacy, and PTP, and specifically targeting SMEs. Sentinel actually does, we think, what it promises by better acquainting such companies with the notion of risk, meaning risk that stems from processing personal data, and providing insights on how a company can better grasp the idea of such risks under the light of GDPR law, meaning risks specific to GDPR. So more specifically, Sentinel offers a set of self-assessment tools that an SME, through its representative, can utilize in order to become more aware in terms of what risks it faces, associated with what I said before, meaning cybersecurity, privacy, and personal data protection, and personal data processing activities, and what measures are available at each point in time to the SME in order to deal with these risks. Measures, I mean, not only technological measures, what type of software you can use, or what type of secure storage you can use, or what type of encryption you can use, but also operational measures. Of course, we understand as a consortium that, let's say, there's no single approach to tackling these issues. But we also understand that most SMEs will either way go to hire some external help in order to increase their standing in terms of these aspects, cybersecurity and GDPR compliance. What we say is that we will aid the SMEs in creating a deeper understanding of such kind of requirements in these aspects, which will eventually lead to more and better informed and educated decisions in the future from the higher ups, from the higher level command. Of course, on the other hand, we don't say that we are the only ones out there. There are definitely other competitive solutions. However, we innovate by integrating in the Sentinel platform profiling capabilities for both personal data protection and personal data processing activities, as well as cybersecurity aspects. And on top of that, we offer intelligent recommendations based on the risks that are identified for the SME. And by that, I mean that the recommendations that the Sentinel platform offers are both appropriate to the SME's profile, which is the SME representative inputs in the platform, in the system. And by profile, I mean the organizational details and what cyber assets, what is the infrastructure that the SME owns. And of course, the recommendations are equivalent to the risk identified for the specific processing activities. So to finish, let's say, my answer, I want to say that just being able to demonstrate that your company takes the protection of personal data seriously can, we think, and it's proven at the end of the day, attract more and better business. And we, as a project, as Sentinel, we offer an SME the chance to prove that they care about personal data protection. And we do that by offering a series of tools and processes to the SME that help it become more compliant. But not only to avoid legal problems, like you said before, and like Stavros said before, there are big fines that can destroy an SME. So the tools that Sentinel offers are not only there to help an SME avoid any legal problems or fines, etc., but more importantly, to actually protect their employees and customers' data, because at the end of the day, that's what we're striving for, to protect the data of employees and customers of an SME. Of course, there are other actors, suppliers, etc., but let's say the more prominent groups in terms of protecting their data are employees and customers.
Thank you, Marinos. I think it was a quite comprehensive, let's say, testimony here about what Sentinel, what is actually the value added of Sentinel to SMEs, which is, I would say, multifold. I think one very important aspect that you mentioned, it's about the educational and also to support SMEs in providing them, I would say, a snapshot of where they are and also provide recommendations that they can follow in order to be, I would say, more secure, more GDPR compliant. I think this is one good example of Sentinel. I know that time is running, so we are kind of short. I will basically now move to our last question that I will ask Stavros also to comment on this. So we pretty much spoke about, I would say, the past and also the present, the current landscape of SMEs. But how do you see the future? How do you see within a time frame of 3 to 5 years? How do you see, not only from a technological perspective, but also from a non-technological perspective, how do you see SMEs will be in a short future? Will they be, I would say, more aware? Because pretty much we talk several times here about being aware and creating awareness. Do you think that within the next 3, 4 to 5 years, they will be actually more aware of being GDPR and personal data protection compliant? Do you think that probably new threats will appear? How do you basically frame this?
Yeah, in order to answer this, we must understand two things. The first thing is that personal data is already, and it will be more in the near future, some kind of currency among companies and organizations in general. So the first thing is that. The other thing is that life and crime, as it's a part of life, in general, is one step ahead of the law or the regulation. So a thing happens first, and then we need to find a way to regulate this. This thing happened with the personal data. We didn't have the GDPR. This thing is happening with the AI. An AI Act is about to be passed. So things are evolving in a very high speed, much higher speed than it used to evolve, I don't know, 20 or even 10 years ago. So with these things in mind, we should think that cyber criminals are likely to develop more sophisticated techniques to break security systems, to stole your personal data, to I don't know, to change them, to take them from you. New crimes will arise. The Internet of Things is now a thing. Okay, so we can witness attacks targeting connected devices such as smart homes, autonomous vehicles, I don't know, critical infrastructure systems. These are crucial. Okay, the machine learning and the AI will also play a crucial part in this, in both aspects of the question, both preventing attacks or making them more sophisticated. I don't know. It's how you use the technology. The technology is a weapon. It's how you use it. which makes it a good or a bad thing. In the near future, SMEs will definitely be more aware of the need to protect the personal data. But so are other organizations that want to take it from you and use it from their own dark purposes, or take it from you and keep them as hostages. Is a new trend. They lock you out of your computer where you keep your personal data. So you pay a huge amount of money to get back your computer, but you don't know what has happened to the personal data you were handling. They will probably copy it and sold to the highest bidder. Technology is a huge issue. There are opportunities for companies specialized in areas are threat intelligence, AI-driven security analytics, cloud security, and data protection enhancing technology. There are definitely opportunities here for companies. New startups will arise. So pretty much this is how I imagine the future. Big organizations such as I don't know, healthcare organization or finance organizations will witness a surge in finding cybersecurity data protection solutions that are tailored to their unique needs. So pretty much this is how I imagine it. Science fiction books have more details about these things. But I think the past can show us the future.
Okay, Stavros, thank you once again. I think you pictured it quite well. I think that for sure new threats will appear. Definitely, it's for us being prepared for them, and of course we need to act. So thank you both. Thank you very much for your availability and accepting this challenge. I think it went quite well. And well, I have to say goodbye. And
Bye.
please also stay tuned and don't forget to follow us in our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank you, Marinos. Thank you, Stavros. Thank you
Bye.
very much. Bye bye.